What's up, everyone? This is Average Bloom or Isaac here, and I got utility. And what you got here with me?
What we got is a deck for League Militaire Strike Freedom that we used to take down 5 new type challenges. This first list, we have 2 lists we're going to be showing you today. The first list we used to take down 3, and then we have another list that was won with by Kevin and Taylor that we'll show you right after this. So we'll just get started. Starting with our low-level blockers, it's pretty standard. I'm going to give shout-out where shout-outs due. This list is basically Kugel's list. I was on something very similar to his list, but it was like 3-4 card difference that I decided to try his list out. This deck was very strong. So we have 4 level 3 blockers and 4 Zelotes. This is pretty self-explanatory. League military name, blockers. You need them for the aggressive decks. We have 2 baby Victory Gundams. This card is mainly there to be aggressive and to have another League military name. The destruction effect to make another parts token is also very strong. Still, we're leading with 4 Victory Gundam. I mean, what can you say? This card says draw 1. It's so strong. If you can stick this early and play Protect the Victory and use this to gain card advantage, especially in the mirror matches. This card is very strong. If they have no way to deal with this, to kill it and take it off the board, you're just going to gain so much value. It is a very strong card.
Yeah, the moment it draws 2 cards, it's just like the best card in the entire game.
Even just like playing this without a pilot, if you can start attacking with this without using your link and saving your USO for your V-dash, that's even better.
Yeah.
Next, we have Silver Bullet. This card is really good against MF and purple. Just not being able to ping it and burn it is really strong. I don't think you really, technically it's incrementally good against the red-blue decks, but I think you already win that matchup, so it's not super important. Next, we have 3 Ale Strikes. It links with Kira. You don't get the draw off the blue Kira, but bouncing, linking, and being a blocker.
And we've been playing a 6/6 is so relevant.
A 6/6 blocker for both of these with Akira can be super relevant. Next, we have V-Dash. Probably, other than Strike Freedom, the saving grace of this deck.
Oh, yeah.
This is, in my opinion, I think the whole team is kind of in agreement. This is probably one of like the top 5 best cards in the game.
Probably the best card of the deck.
It's probably the best card in the deck. It's definitely a mirror breaker. I think this card is one of the biggest reasons why I think the whole team kind of agrees this deck is much better into the Kira pile than the Kira pile is into this. It's not an auto win, but this is the big reason why this is so good into the other decks that don't have this. Yeah. Being able to do this every single turn, and playing Protect this with your blockers and eating their board apart with this and Strike Freedom, it's very strong.
Turns out a repeatable Amuro is really good.
Yeah. Then we have GDO1 Freedom Gundam. This card links with Kira, a 6/8. It's just really hard to kill. It's a blocker. Getting Kira's effect on pair is very strong, the -2. You can just use this to kind of help eat a board apart or just to put a really big blocker on the board.
Yeah.
And then next, 3 Strike Freedom. This card I don't think needs any explanation. This is probably what people consider the boogeyman of the format. This card, you link this and you draw 3 cards and it's really strong. I think one thing that a lot of newer players or people that don't quite understand this card, the bot deck is very strong, but it is very situational. Obviously, the parts tokens and mirror matches are going to protect the bot deck from this, but this card drawing 3 cards and holding hand value is so much more important in a lot of matchups than getting the bot deck. Decking a level 3 blocker is usually almost irrelevant in the mirror match. There are times, obviously, it's going to be very situational, but this card just being able to draw cards and find the next one or to just refill your hand is its big saving grace.
Yeah.
Using 2 cards and drawing 3 and putting a 7/8 on the board is pretty strong.
I feel like every single time I see my opponent go and discard 2 cards to bot deck one of my blockers or, God forbid, a parts token, I'm just like, yeah, thank you. That's a 2-for-1 in my favor. Don't mind.
Yeah, it feels really good. Next, we have 3 blue Kira and 3 white Kira. we are a Kira deck. We have multiple Kira links. This one, drawing a card, is always going to be good. The 2/2 stat line is super relevant. White Kira is White Kira. The -2, it's still such a good pilot.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where it is kind of more health than the blue Kira because of the minus, and so you get to survive attacks that you wouldn't be able to otherwise, and then it can still like do another attack. Like when you attack into something that is doing 6 damage with your Ale Strike that's linked, and then you're only taking 4 back because of the -2, and then it gets to still live and either eats a ping or it eats another dude. Super good.
Next, we have 4 Uso. We need this card. It makes parts tokens. I think the big saving grace of this deck for the blue against the blue decks is the fact that you do make part tokens. Them being level 0 protects you from the bot deck from the strike freedom. So this deck is like just super immune to being affected by the bot deck of the strike freedom. We max out on the Uso because the link is super strong with both of these cards, and we have 6 for these. But this linked is just such a powerhouse. A 6/6 that taps blockers and breaches. It is just a powerhouse.
Yeah.
One thing I think people don't realize, but I think underutilize is how strong putting pilots on parts tokens are, especially White Kira. In the aggro matchups, you get to eat a 2/2. It lives as a 3/2. It can essentially turns your pilots into like close combats or potentially even 2.
Yeah, and you should never feel bad about having to do it too, since the part tokens are free. And so if you are losing the pilot, I mean, if you're getting 2 cards out of your 1 pilot, that's just a 2-for-1 still.
Yeah. Next, we have only 3 reinforced. We need this to make league names and part tokens, but we are playing the 2 Argama just with all the MF and New Gundam running around. Argama is just a very strong card. You don't usually want to stick this. You kind of just want to hold this for the going into their level 7 turn.
Yeah.
If you make their New Gundam or their Master Gundam less impactful on the board, it definitely is going to help you out in the long term. They just have to go around extra steps to try to clear this to get the most value out of their level 7. So it's pretty good. Next, we have 2 Unforeseen, another underutilized card. This card is just insane. Certain moments in the game, this card can just win you the game outright by protecting one of your big things, especially V-Dash. It's good protecting just big bodies in general, but V-Dash is going to be like a really big, important piece to use your Unforeseen on to protect, especially for mirror matches.
Or being able to use it to prevent them from getting to destroy draw a card with strike freedom can also be a huge blowout.
Yeah. And then just some draw cards for consistency. We have 2 shows and 3 overflowings. Not much to be said. This draws 2. This is going to filter and cycle cards just to try to help with the consistency of the deck to find what you need. Next, we're going to be kicking it off to Taylor's deck profile.
All right, guys, now I got Vindarius or Taylor here with me, and he's got something pretty cool, I would say, also. What do you got, buddy?
Additionally, I have Strike Freedom League Militaire as well.
Crazy.
Video. So we'll go over the blockers, the early game, and then we'll go throughout the rest of the deck. Starting off, we have Forzalotes as traditional. It's for league names, and it being a 2/2, 3/2 blocker for the early game against aggro. It's fantastic, does its job. Additionally, we have a 3-1 split of Lifrith and Rick Diaz. They're just healthy blockers that have different roles. 2/4 helps against aggro, eating 2 guys, while this Rick Diaz can be there for breaking base. Next up we have is 2 Tori. Tori is, for the stat line, it's just better stats than these. It is 1 more cost to play and 1 more level, so you will have to hopefully mulligan for more early game, which is going to be these guys. And additionally, it does link with Blue Kira, which makes this a stat line of 5/6. It's really good against breaking against Gundams that are linked with Amuro. Not Green Amuro, though. That's now a different story. Next up we have is Victory Gundam. This is going to be your powerhouse a lot of the time when you drop it. For this, if you play the Protect the Queen strat with your blockers, you can typically take over the game very quickly and handedly. Usually if you get 2 draws out of this dude, you're going to be pretty set for the rest of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, what we have for dealing with mirror matches going forward with this deck is 2 Perfect Strike Gundam. This is, instead of Silver Bullets that you've seen in a lot of lists, this helps a lot with the parts token situation. With Strike Freedom decks, a lot of the time when you do the mirror match, the goal is to have some type of token or small units to protect it from getting the rest of your board getting bot decked from your opposing opponent's Strike Freedom. So with this helps us push one of the tokens out of the way that they're trying to bank up, so that we have a better, clear shot of using Strike Freedom when we need to answer the board. Next up, what we have.
The other really cool note with that is the fact that it also increases our link count. Silver Bullet it was impossible to link that card. It's a good body, but now we actually have more Kira links, even though it's specifically just the white Kira. And then with the Utori, we have more blue Kira links as well. So just upping our total value.
There's also the added benefit of this card is just incrementally a little bit better against, I guess it has its own challenges, because Silver Bullet is going to protect against the ping of the purple package, but this card can bounce the Exia repair as well as the tokens that Zeong makes.
True.
Because they're 1 health, so it kind of helps stop the wave that the Zeong can have against you.
Yeah, that's really well said, because it's kind of like Ailstrike as well, where it's just more ways to control the board. While this doesn't need a pilot to do its job, it's just on deploy. However, it's not conditional. You have to do the return, but a lot of time that's all you need.
It's also nice that you can link it and you don't have to worry about using the EX resource. You can go and play this on turn 5, or on level 5, your turn 4, be able to play it, link it, and then you still go to 6 next turn for a V-dash, which is very relevant.
Yeah, it's very clean on that part, along with if you need to land a Reinforced Junior or Overflowing Affection, just because the cheap efficiency of the cost versus 4/4 stat line.
Exactly.
Next up, we go to level 5s, the rest of level 5s here, which is 3 more Ailstrike. There's so much been said about Ailstrike, but other than you get easy 2-for-1s with this unit, you can make it a 6/6 with the new blue Kira. You do draw the card though. But other than that, its stat line makes it so that it being a 6/6 helps us answer V-dashes as well, like a clean, nice, bounce the blocker out of the way, answer the opposing opponent's V-dash, or sometimes if it's not linked, you get a free V-dash kill with this, along with the other Kira.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been one of the best units literally since its inception, so it makes sense that it's still good.
Next up, we have the Hail Mary of the deck that usually lands the win very quickly for us, which is V-dash. This unit, being able to control the board in the way that you sees fit for you, when you have to deal with blockers or early game units like Gundams, aggro decks like Zaku's, or gun cannons or gun tanks. You're just able to basically eat their board, but also still have Breach to be able to close the game out against aggro. Because a lot of the time what will happen against aggro is that you're just answering their units, but they're still been damaging you along the way. And so Breach helps you just fill that gap in. You're killing their units, but also racing them at the same point.
Yeah.
And also it being a 6/6 stat line with Uso makes it so that it's able to answer every Link unit at level 5 and level 6. Additionally, if you put a white Kira on this, it's just eating everything for breakfast, and it's just a monster.
Yeah.
Next up we go up to is level 7, which is going to be the Freedom Gundam. This unit links with white Kira and blue Kira. Blue Kira making this a 6/8. One thing to note on 8 is a very powerful number in this format, because it is not dying to a Strike Freedom attacking it. That's very important to note. So because with that being the case, when you pair it with a blue Kira, it's much more effective at those type of board states. And additionally, it's triple ship alliance, so you do get to draw the card, and you will get that -2 for the turn.
Yeah. Plus that residual effect where like every time that you go and pair one of your white units, including Lefrith or Rick, making it so that you can then have a mini unforeseen that lasts for the entire turn. There's been multiple times where games are won just because that residual effect. You can go minus, get a favorable exchange, you're up in value, and then you can just snowball it.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. When you get 2 of these out, you minus the whole board and you just take it from there.
Yeah.
And for this list, we have upped the count to 4 Strike Freedom. This is, we will all say, is the boogeyman. It being able to, on deploy, draw 2 cards, up to 2 cards, and additionally, when you link it with the blue Kira, you'll draw 3 cards. With this, you will be able to control most board states, and this is what you're trying to get to immediately. When you play this type deck, my preference is to take EX resource. I want to be able to play this card as soon as possible, and I want to play my second one as soon as possible. This being able to draw 3 cards means that's that much more likely.
Yeah, and that's also the reason why we went from 3 to 4 ultimately, is because we want to maximize our chances of when you play the first one, you find the second one. Because more often than not, the second one just closes the game out almost entirely.
Yeah, and there is some situations where you can bot deck with this, but I'll opt not to if it's not a we want to say a juicy target like a token or a blocker. Just being able to just say, hey, I'm just going to kill what I can and draw the cards and save them for the next turn is perfectly fine.
Oh yeah.
And now we move on to the pilots. Pilots being is 4 blue Kira. This card is just like blue Benager, but for Kira pile. And this being able to make it so we have 6 6s, 7 8s, 6 8s. Like the numbers are just really good when it's a 2/2 pilot. Additionally, drawing a card helps you be able to grind out your opponent very quickly.
Yeah.
Next up we have is 3 white Kira. With this, it's everything's been said about this, being able to be a 2/1 and then being able to -2 on attack makes it so that you're essentially gaining a pseudo 2 more value when you swing that turn. Makes it so a lot of your units can live.
Yeah. And then, like we also mentioned before, it's totally fine to go and throw the white Kira on a parts token or throw it on basically any of your units. It's so good that you could almost just play 12 pilots and just play like 4 blue Kira and 4 white Kira and call it a day. It's just that powerful.
Yeah, and then last for the pilots is Uso. And because we need to have as many league pieces on the board in order to make it so Victory Gundam does have the trigger happen for it, it's important to have this be something that you plan when you need the token to be effective. When you play against matchups where they will ping it, like Blurple or Green Purple with Barbados, I will think twice about playing this immediately when I want to think about making a token matter for something like Victory Gundam or V-Dash and doesn't just instantly leave the board. I've also had situations like Isaac was talking about where I'll pair pilots on my tokens, make it so I can answer early game boards. This, putting on another token means I have a 3/2 token and I just man another 1/1, helps me stabilize.
Yeah.
And then we go on to the commands. The commands is 3 Unforeseen Incident. This was preference. I liked having Unforeseen against the mirror match, and it was kind of another mirror match breaker. Every time you saw a V-Dash and a Strike Freedom, it was backbreaking in the mirror match. But additionally, having an Unforeseen Incident meant that you and your opponent have to commit a play at some point, and not being able to answer the board the way you need to because of an Unforeseen Incident throws out all the tempo that you would have thought you gained. And also additional, it helps against Strike Freedom. Additionally, when your opponent is trying to swing and try to gain draws from it, all of a sudden when they don't get to draw the card they needed to through Strike Freedom, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, it's just such a back-breaking card in certain situations.
Additionally, then we have 3 Overflowing Infection. I found 3 was a nice cushy number just for filtering. Some lists play 4. I just preferred 3. Hard to find space. I believe it was some lists we were doing 4 Overflowing Infection instead of 3 Unforeseen Incident, but I just wanted to see this card that much more.
Yeah, and it's definitely shows for specifically the mirror match, being able to have that additional action speed, like battle combat trick effectively, is so relevant. Being able to protect your V-dashes, preventing them from getting draws.
And last but not least, we stuck with 4 bases for this list. This was just a choice where we didn't feel like we were going to see as much Breach and nor Master Gundam. Those are the 2 biggest haymakers when it comes to Argama being a necessary piece. What we found is that because we're not playing Victory Gundam in this list, we're playing Tori is more the placeholder. We needed to make sure that we had 4 juniors instead of a 2-2 split or a 3-2 split with Argama and Junior. And you know, this is almost a unit of itself. You make a 1/1 and you'll get value of that 1/1 somewhere in the game. But things I would say about this list is that it's very powerful and it's very late gamey. When your goal is to stabilize and make it so you can survive, and you have different goals when you are trying to achieve victory, no pun intended. One of the victories is being able to protect the queen with Victory Gundam and slowly grind your opponent out. Next up is V-Dash, controlling your opponent's board. Sometimes, with this list in particular, you will have to be creative. Sometimes you don't have a parts token, and you'll have to be more thoughtful about, oh, I need to play a Victory Gundam and get my V-Dash to suspend it to be able to tap another unit on the board. You'll have to do things like that, but it's for the efficiency of being able to maximize the value of V-Dash taking control of the board. Freedom Gundam has been fantastic, being able to answer boards at a moment's notice at level 7. Level 7 is kind of like that sweet spot sometimes where you can, when going second, you play us on level 6, or your level 6 turn, your turn 6, level 7 turn. And it's effective for dealing with most board states. Other than that, Strike Freedom, fantastic card. I'll be playing more of it, definitely. If you like control strats, I would recommend this deck.
Well, that was 2 different deck profiles from both League Militaire Strike Freedom. We've been able to win a total of 5 of these unicorns here with that archetype, and then the last one was one with Blue-Red Strike Freedom. Watch out for that profile when that comes. But
later this week.
Absolutely. But we just kind of wanted to lastly touch on our thoughts on the format, on some of the cards in the format, specifically Strike Freedom, and then go from there. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like what we're really talking about, like the video said, is Strike Freedom a problem? You know, I think that it inherently has caused some problems in the format. As a red-white player who likes to play more control-y decks, this card has felt like it's gate-kept you from playing other types of control decks. You either need to play a deck that's fast enough to win before they land Strike Freedoms, or you just don't beat it, because they just accrue so much value off of the drawing. And if you don't have a way to protect against the bot deck, it's over. You know, red-white was a deck literally built on getting the most value out of your cards, and that is how you won games, was just incremental value, making sure your cards 2 for 1 as much as possible. And Strike Freedom has just made that impossible, because you 2 for 1 the whole game, and then they draw 3 cards, and you just don't beat their hand advantage.
Yeah.
Let's add to the fact that it's another card that pairs with Kira, I think, is making a big issue, because now when you're incentivized to play a deck that plays Ale Strike, it's hard not to think of the room, oh, well, now I have access to blue Kira if I do Strike Freedom, and now you have the whole Kira package. And it's really hard to get away from that when we're now, like, aggro's kind of been removed a little bit from the format. So, like, we're doing these, like, mid-range control piles a lot of time, and now with Strike Freedom, it's just taking over a lot of that real estate. All those Ale Strike decks are now playing Strike Freedom a lot of the time.
Yeah. I think part of the issue too is like what you kind of said. Aggro has been addressed with the pair bans that happened, them limiting the 2/2s, and then the Mikazuki Amuro ban and everything. I feel like though now that aggro has been effectively addressed, now that we're in this Strike Freedom world, the best of one problem has been further exacerbated, where it feels like you're kind of losing more to your deck than you're losing to your opponent. There's a lot of times where you'll just be like, oh, I have like an average draw, I can play like a blocker early, but I don't have any links, and then your opponent's just like, oh, I'm just gonna go Victory Uso link into like a Ale Strike Kira link into a V- Uso link, and it just doesn't feel like you two played the same game particularly at all. If we were able to get best of 3 with sideboards, I feel like so much of this feels bad that we're living in would be at least minimized. I'm not saying that those games are suddenly going to go away. You're still going to occasionally brick. That's just TCGs, unfortunately.
Yeah, Gundam just has like the inherent problem of linking being so strong that when you don't get to link and your opponent links multiple times, sometimes that can be a deciding factor in your games.
Yeah.
You know, so that is definitely an issue. But sideboards, I think, just help with matchups. You get to shore up matchups. You know, it's for aggro decks and for control decks. You know, getting to play a purple aggro deck and making sure that you have, you know, extra wide spreads for the matchups that the wide spread's impactful against, and not having to have it against, you know, matchups where you don't want to see it. Like I don't think you really want to see it in the. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you really want to see it in the mirror matches. You're really just trying to put the pressure and kill them before they kill you.
You definitely don't want to see it against blue-red.
Yeah, definitely not against blue-red. I mean, I think at the beginning of the season,
oh my God,
Taylor and I were playing green-purple, and I think we were like
15-4 or 15-3 between 2 or 3 new types, and we only lost to blue-red basically.
Yep.
He lost to it 4 times.
That was my only loss.
I lost to it twice, and then I conceded some games because I was out of top 4 or top 6 contention, so I just didn't care. But yeah, blue-red was like the stopping point of that deck. It's almost unwinnable. Sideboards would probably help make that not just feel like an auto loss.
Yeah.
It's very polarizing because there's almost no units in the blue-red, and go figure, it's another Strike Freedom deck. And,
True.
yeah, when you go against it, you have all this spot removal for like purple, where it's like Fatal Strikes and Widespreads, but doesn't do anything in a matchup where you don't play units. And if this game is going to continue to release more sets and have more creative freedom of building a deck, there's just things where it'll help the gameplay experience, having Sideboard to be like, oh, my deck is really good on a game 1 basis, but when we go to game 2 and 3, we change it up to say, I have more ways to express myself.
Yeah, because currently with how the game is, it's so polarizing that it doesn't really feel as though there's a mid-range that you can really do. It's either you have to be the fastest iteration of an aggro deck possible, where they're even playing the level 1/1 drops, like the 1/2s or the 1/1 dops and stuff.
Dops and stuff.
Literally dop.
Top 1 year war, baby.
Or it gets there.
It does get there.
You either have to do that, or you have to be playing this like hard, I'm going big with Strike Freedom, and I'm gonna try and go bigger with Strike Freedom than you're going with Strike Freedom. And that's why our lists at the end are just for Strike Freedom, is just because it becomes the most important card at a certain point, where it's just you have to see it, and then you have to see the second one, and if you see the third one, it's over.
And they all help each other see.
Yeah.
They just feed into each other one after another. The amount of times I've played Strike Freedom and I have either a Strike Freedom or a Kira in my hand, and I just see the other piece because I drew 3 cards on turn 7, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, I guess I'm doing this again next turn.
Let's just
and they
run it
just
again.
compound it. It's actually insane.
Yeah.
But
But what do you guys think? Do you think that Strike Freedom is a problem? Do you think it's fine? Should it be banned? Oh my goodness.
right, let us know down below. in
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
comments.
Comment, like, subscribe, share with all of your friends. Please check out our past videos. They're still relevant. Some of the ideas and some of the things that we go over still translate, even if it's an older format. And watch out for future content. We're going to be doing another deck profile. We're probably going to do some gameplay, and more will be coming. So thank you so much. I hope everyone has a lovely rest of the day. Win your events. You got this. I believe in you. And yeah,
Have a good night.
have a good night.
There, guys.